we are going to study another lecture of pathogenesis of infections. We have talked about the virulence factors of bacteria or microorganisms. Now we will discuss some important steps involved in the pathogenesis of any infectious disease. Okay, so let's start our today's lecture. So, what steps involved in the pathogenesis of infectious disease? First of all, what is infectious disease? Infectious disease is a disease which occurs or which occurs due to any bacteria or any infectious agent. There are diseases which are separate. They are not cause of. They are not due to any bacterial cause, virus cause, like diabetes is a metabolic disorder. Alzheimer's disease another is a Alzheimer's disease is not an infectious disease. Okay, so I am talking about specifically for infectious disease. So what are the mechanism or steps involved in the pathogenesis of infectious disease? First of entry of pathogen into the body. Okay, so first step is the entry of pathogen in every disease, in every bacteria or microorganisms. Entry is necessary or first step in the disease development, because without entry, without entry or without penetration, uh, disease development will not occur, or because before or without entry of any bacteria into the host cell, disease will not be developed, or development of disease will not be initiated. Okay, so entry is must. So when bacteria or any microorganism enters into the cells, then they multiply, they attach with the surface. So what are the route of entry? So bacteria can penetrate, or microscopic organism or pathogen can penetrate through the skin, through the mucous membrane of any or organ. We can inhale or ingest. We can inhale with air, with aerosols. We can ingest with the food. Okay, and we can and bacteria can penetrate in our blood through GIT tract, gastrointestinal tract, or we bacteria can move in urinary tract as well. Okay, so then inoculation of the pathogen into the bodily tissues by an arthropod. There are many vectors which are involved in the spread of disease, like in our Multan city. Many sand flies are now causing leishmaniasis. So a sand fly is actually a vector for disease spread. So leishmaniasis is a disease. So leishmania is a parasite which actually lives in sand flies as a secondary host. So when arthropod, which is actually sand fly, so when sand fly bites with any person, they transfer leishmania parasite into any human body, or any other. Another common example actually a mosquito. So dengue or malarial diseases actually are due to the arthropods spread and introduction of pathogen directly into the blood. Another important thing is direct entry of any infection into the blood. It can occur in many cases, like mistakenly, like common are AIDS, hepatitis C are common in our Pakistan, are common due to the misuse of syringes, or directly inoculation of viruses from one person to the another person in the vein. So direct entry into the blood, another important route of transmission or entry into of any pathogen in the body. So these are actually route of entries. Okay, then after entry, bacteria attachment of the pathogen to some tissues within the body occurs. So when bacteria enters in any body, then they attach with the specific cells, or if they are known, if bacteria is more virulent, so sometimes they will select any, they can select any tissue for the infection. So attachment to that tissue is necessary for the further development of disease. Okay, so after attachment with the disease, after attachment with a specific tissue or a specific organ or specific site, multiplication of pathogen occurs. So the bacteria multiply, so multiplication occur, bacteria multiply, they get nutrients from the host cell, they get nutrients, they can they get a protection from the host cell as well. A big no doubt our immune system is involved, but bacteria modify or clearly understand the condition, and clearly understand the human immune system, and they commonly escapes from the when they have to cause the disease, they escapes from the immune system. So multiplication of pathogen is another important point, because without multiplication, without increased number of bacteria or any microorganism, disease development will not occur, because it highly depends on the infectious disease, infectious dose of bacteria. Okay, a lethal dose of bacteria. So what is a dose of bacteria which is involved in the disease cause is also important. So multiplication of bacteria also occurs. Then after multiplication, invasion and spread of the pathogen. It means bacteria will, after multiplication, bacteria will invade toward the other tissues. It can invade with the through blood, or through the any attachment with any surface, or any with the any body fluid. Okay, so after invasion of host defense, another important mechanism, invasion of host defense. Host defense can be a host defense, bacteria can escape from the host defense as well. The bacteria have many things. I have told you in our previous lecture about the capsule can help in the bacteria in from protection, as protection from human immune response or protective mechanism. So host defense mechanism can involve, but bacteria can escape from host defense mechanism, or microorganism will escape from host defense mechanism, and they will cause a, and they will cause ultimately damage to the host cells. Okay, or host tissues. So these are actually steps involved in the pathogenesis of any infectious disease. Okay, in the entry, you have must have to keep in mind three important things: inoculation, inhalation, and ingestion. Three I's are very important in the transmission of disease, of any disease. And inhalation is actually a entry through respiratory system. Ingestion is actually intaking of any bacteria through contaminated food, a common causes. And inoculation is another important, is on the usually from naked skin or wound. So these are actually three I's are very important. First of all, transmission. Let's talk about the transmission. What is entry? There are transmission can occur through few mechanisms. There are few type of transmission. First type is horizontal type, or horizontal transmission. Most important things, or most important concepts are horizontal transmission. What is horizontal transmission? Horizontal transmission is actually a direct spread of any infectious material direct from one individual to another. Okay, or indirect transmission through vectors, like through any mosquito, any sand fly. Okay, so horizontal type, in other word, a spread of any disease, or a spread of any, or shift transmission of any infection from one person to another person, direct it can transfer through contaminated hands. It can transfer from aerosols as well. So this is actually a direct transmission from one individual of any disease from one individual to another through any way. कोई भी वे हो सकता है जिससे एक पर्सन से दूसरे पर्सन में डिजीज ट्रांसफ़र हो रही है. ओके. Another condition is vertical transmission. What is vertical transmission of disease? Vertical transmission of disease actually a transfer of any disease from mother to offspring. Okay, so this is actually vertical transmission. Common is actually transmission is horizontal transmission in our community, but those diseases which transfer actually from which moves from mother to offspring are actually transferred with vertical transmission. Like hepatitis B can transfer, can move hepatitis C and HIV. Then what are animal and humans? In transmission of disease from animals to humans, rabies is an important another important viral disease which can transfer from dogs or other from few other organisms to the human after dog bite. So these are actually disease which can transfer animal to human. Another important thing is transmission route is environmental contact. For example, anthrax. It means there are a few means in environmental contact like spores of any organism. If spores of any organism are present at any site or any place, then we get exposed with these spores just with the touching or with the accident. Then this is actually environmental contact or environmental transmission. So these are actually most important concepts about the transmission of any disease. Here you can say direct physical contact, transmission through direct physical contact, touch, sexual contact. Okay, touch is a common, they are in our world mostly diseases are spreading through contaminated hands or touch. Okay, another condition is sexually transmitted diseases like sexual contact is also, these are actually types of horizontal transmission. Direct physical contact, in which touch, sexual contact are important. Sexual diseases which actually spread through few diseases like for example syphilis, gonorrhea is spread through sexual contact. Another is indirect contact, when soil contamination. Okay, these are actually classification or not horizontal contact. These are actually another type of transmission of contact type or spread of disease, any spread of any disease. But how it we can how a disease can spread from one person to another person. Though those were horizontal, vertical transmission are actually generalized terminologies. Now we are studying some spread of disease with different angle. So what are indirect contacts? Soil contamination. If in roadside accident, if a person gets injured, then spores will enter, and spores enters in any from any naked wound. So after and penetration of spores will develop, and this will actually a indirect contact. Okay, means a person will is not get contact with the bacteria, but they can get contact with the spores of the bacteria. Then it will germinate and cause the development of a disease. Airborne transmission is actually a microorganism which can survive, or which can fly in the, or fly is actually a wrong word. So airborne transmission is actually a microorganism remain in the air for a long period of time. I'm not talking about the aerosols or droplets. Okay, if any bacteria can move in in air or remain in air for a long period of time without any aerosols, they are airborne transmission. Okay, they are then another important, droplet contact. If any if any microorganism is in air, present in air, but in droplets, in water droplets, and they release after coughing, sneezing, then they are droplet, they are separate, disease spreading through droplet contact. And the tuberculosis, measles, uh, COVID-19, actually these are diseases which usually spread through droplet contact. Then fecal oral transmission. Another important thing is the development of disease in any other person with the contact with the contaminated feces. Okay, so vibrio cholera is a common disease. There we in world there were three pandemics. There have been three pandemics of in last centuries. Three pandemics of uh, cholera have occurred. So actually cholera is not very uh, light. The In near in future, cholera after alteration in genetic material, cholera can cause vibrio cholera bacteria can cause the pandemic. So cholera, what is actually a major or a common or most important spread route of vibrio cholera is actually through contaminated feces. How it spreads? When bacteria released from any person into the contaminated feces, and a healthy person got contact with the those contaminated feces, or if contaminated feces contaminates the drinking water, okay, then it will cause the disease in other persons. These are actually fecal oral transmission, and this is important. After entry, attachment occurs. Attachment to host cells, attachment to host tissues will occur. So what types of adherence or attachment are? Avoid peristalsis, ciliary action, urine flow. So adherence actually is very important mechanism. When bacteria adhere with the, they usually they usually can escape from the flow of any fluid. They usually can escape from the immune or defense system of our body. So it can avoid, after adherence it can avoid from the peristalsis movement, okay, ciliary reactions, and urinary flow. Okay, so prevent early clearance. It can prevent early clearance, early prevent early clearance, sorry. If bacteria is just entered in the body, or any microorganism just entered the body, then in a few time when adherence is not occurred, then we can clear the site without any damage of the body. So just removing or just flushing the site, we can save the site from infection. So prevent early clearance, prevents early clearance. Okay, so in body fluids like urine flow, like in peristalsis, like ciliary action means sputum formation, these are things which are involved in the early clearance of the bacteria. They are they inhibit actually the attachment of bacteria with human tissue. So when these fluid so when bacteria escapes from these fluids and attach with the cells, then disease will develop. Adhesion receptors interactions. So in our human body there are many types of receptors are present. So when so bacteria binds with those receptors and adherence occurs. So for example, E. coli type 1 fibri bind to mannose containing receptors. Mannose binding lectin receptors are present on our human cells. These receptors are not for actually bacteria. These receptors are our normal receptor, and they perform normal physiological functions in our body. But bacteria attached with bacteria gets attached with the with these receptors. Okay, so adherence. So E. coli also microorganisms attach with the specific receptor. That's why every bacteria cannot cause disease at any site, or every microorganism cannot cause disease in every site of the human body, due to this presence of specific receptors on the specific cell at specific site. Okay. So, penetration and spread in the host. After adhesion, bacterial cell penetrates in the host. Local infection, for example, in Shigella, enters in intestinal cell, do not enter the bloodstream. For example, like Shigella is a bacteria. If body face infection or dysentery due to Shigella, so Shigella enters in the cells of GIT, intestinal cells. Okay, they attached with the intestine, and they penetrate into the cells, and they spread from cell to cell through actin filaments. So these are local infections. So penetration and spread in the host can occur. For example, we have studied Shigella, entry of Shigella, then systemic infection, entry to the bloodstream. Okay, infection, bacteria after penetration in the blood, after penetration in the blood vessel, then bacteria can spread from one tissue or one cell to another cell through systemic in through bloodstream, and this is actually a condition of septicemia and or bacteremia. So presence of bacteria in the blood can cause a lethal disease if remain untreated. There are sites in our body where mucus or cilia are present, just to get rid of bacteria before the disease. So bacteria breaks the covering of covering mucus of secretory epithelium and enters the cell, and by motility. In another important virulence factor of bacteria have motility. Bacteria can move from one side to another side, like in spirochete, in Proteus, they are highly motile. Escherichia coli is also very efficient in motility. So motility is another important cause of disease. Okay, M cells from the intestinal lymphatic epithelium often minimum resistant. Okay, there is another bacteria pass through the epithelium and reaches the bloodstream. So M cells actually in a lymphatic or intestinal lymphatic epithelium, which can help the bacteria, because they are actually they have a minimum resistance against bacteria, but bacteria can spread through the M cell. Okay, so these are actually common way of spreading of bacteria. So in this diagram you can easily observe, or you can easily learn about the transmission and the penetration, adherence and the penetration of Shigella. In blue color, in purple color, you can see the Shigella gets attached with the M cells, and when they get attached with the M cells, they penetrate inside the cells, and after penetration they multiply and invade the surrounding cells. So this is actually pathogenesis of Shigella. Thank you so much.